has extended his state's emergency order, giving him the authority to stop local governments from imposing their own coronavirus restrictions. Stocks remain mixed. The Dow is down 210 points, but the Nasdaq is up 14. This is SRN News.
Wouldn't it be great to work in a place that makes a positive impact on the people, businesses, and churches around you? That place exists. I know because I work there. My name is Cassie, and I'm the digital marketing specialist with Salem Media Group in Pittsburgh. Right now, 101.5 Word FM and Salem Surround have an opening for one talented salesperson to join our team. Is that you? We'll bring the training, you just bring the talent. An understanding of digital marketing and some direct sales experience will definitely help you stand out. What are you waiting for? Take the first step to a career that is challenging, rewarding, and helps to create terrific results for our amazing customers. Join the sales team at Salem Media Group, Pittsburgh. Email your resume to brad.marshall@salempittsburgh.com. That's brad.marshall@salempittsburgh.com. Salem Media Group is an equal opportunity employer.
Tens of thousands affected by the toxic water at Camp Lejeune are left with death, cancer, Parkinson's, dementia, birth defects, and other serious illnesses. And along with the harm, so many worries.
My family drank the Camp Lejeune water. What if our health gets worse and we need more financial help?
How do I protect my VA benefits and get the compensation I deserve and need?
The answer is simple. Call James Harris Law, the experienced, trusted law firm that can get you significant compensation while protecting all your VA benefits. We're already fighting for hundreds of Marines, families, and civilians who drank Camp Lejeune water. But if you miss the deadline, you could forever lose your right to the justice you deserve. So call our Camp Lejeune legal helpline now. Now may be your last chance to receive full compensation. Don't delay. Call 800-299-7878. That's 800-299-7878. 800-299-7878.
On the podcast Really No Really, join best friends Jason Alexander and Peter Tilden, along with experts, newsmakers, and celebrities, in a search for answers to life's most baffling, intriguing, and annoying questions. You know, those things that make you go, really? No, really?
I think there was a 17-year-old in Rhode Island who ran a candidate that was a deepfake.
Really? Wait, that's news to me. That's Really No Really right there.
Really No Really.
Listen to Really No Really wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Tim Seckler inviting you to tune in each and every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on Word FM 101.5 for the Life and Legacy Show, sponsored by my law firm, the Seckler Law Firm. Each week, we'll talk about your family's well-being as it relates to elder law, nursing home stays, estate planning, and keeping your hard-earned savings. And if you missed the Life and Legacy Show, you will find it archived at secklerlawfirm.com. See you Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on Word FM 101.5 for the Life and Legacy Show.
Mainly clear skies expected for tonight. We'll reach a nighttime low of 31. Tomorrow will be warm with temperatures approaching near record highs with times of clouds and sunshine. A breezy afternoon tomorrow with a high of 68. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a passing shower late, the low 45. Thursday, sunny to partly cloudy skies. We'll reach a high Thursday of 51. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
Welcome to another edition of The Ride Home with John and Kathy, live from the Salem Pittsburgh studios. And now here are your hosts, John Hall and Kathy Emmons.
Well, I'll just say, it's amazing what a good night's sleep can do.
Oh my gosh, Isn't that the truth?
Yesterday, Monday's show, you and I had both had bad night's sleep.
Oh my gosh, horrible.
And
horrible.
I think that show, I'm afraid to go back and listen because it was cranky. Wasn't it?
We had a negative outlook on everything yesterday.
Apologies if you tuned in.
If the question would have been, what do you think of cute cuddly kittens? John and I would have been like, you know why you shouldn't have kittens?
I mean, just a little night's sleep changes everything, doesn't it? Really?
Gosh, yesterday was really rough.
There was. I went to bed last night at 9:15.
Did you really?
And I didn't get up this morning until 8.
You slept? Did you sleep all that time?
I did.
You did not sleep all that time straight through?
Boom, straight through. I was like, yeah, John.
How do you do that?
I felt good about it.
How do you do that?
I felt good. Isn't it amazing?
Yes, it's just
sleep.
So much better.
It's a great cure-all, is it not?
Oh,
fabulous. So anyway, we're good today. Hope that you are as well.
You did not sleep through 11 straight hours.
Yeah, I was ready, primed. My wife and I were downstairs, and there was something on. I forget what it was, and I was like, "No, I got to go. I'll see you, honey." I went to bed. Boom, I was gone. Feeling nice.
Lexi, how long do you sleep at a shot?
Anywhere from 10 to 12 hours.
See, yeah. Now she's a young kid.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
It's so easy. It's so good.
Well, the older you get, the harder it does become.
Once I had a baby,
of course, women,
it was all over.
Forget it. How many times up at night are you?
Minimum 3.
3 times? And how do you fall back to sleep?
You just get used to it.
See, I felt myself last night like sort of coming up to the,
surface.
And I was able to catch myself like, okay, so
don't wake
you
up.
Sort of talk yourself down into it again.
That's great. That's just so awesome.
I mean, more often than not, you're able to do that. But I understand age comes upon you, and you feel like I'm up. It happened Sunday night, so who am I? Like,
right. Once a baby was crying during the night, that was it. That was like it. I'd never been able to go back.
Right. Plus, now we got a cat.
Exactly.
My wife said to me this morning, "Did you hear the cat like wreaking havoc?" I was like,
"Was he running around like?"
Yeah.
See, it's awesome because you all go to bed and he comes out and starts stalking, and he's like a spy, and there's international intrigue.
Yeah. Plus, he's adopted my wife, and he's like in her face.
Oh, that's super cute.
Meowing at her. He leaves me alone, which I'm grateful for. Thank you.
Okay. That's awesome.
Very nice. Anyway, thanks for coming along today. That's our sleep schedule.
We do. We have a great show coming up, though, today. I'm happy to tell you that in the 5 o'clock hour, why guilt is good news in Lent.
You think? Guilt. Don't you hate guilt? But
Talk about something that keeps you up during the night.
Oh, well, I guess it does serve a good purpose, though, does it not?
Well, Jay Slocum's going to talk to us about that at 5:10. Also, the president and the first lady went out to a restaurant and ordered the same thing.
Yeah.
The exact same dish.
Yeah.
The question is, do you and your partner do this?
Are you asking me?
No. I will ask you later, but I don't want you to answer right now. Okay. In the 4 o'clock hour, the pre-flood story in Genesis, God says that he's sorry that he made humankind. Does that mean he's indecisive?
Or does he regret us?
Does he regret us now? Hugh Ross will be with us. Hugh Ross is an astrophysicist, also kind of a philosopher.
I'd say so.
Theologian. Happy to have him with us. Also, Adidas has $500 million of Kanye sneakers and no good option for getting rid of them.
What do you do with your excess inventory?
I don't know what you... They're just screwed. I don't think there's really anything they can do there.
Come back around again. All right, that and more.
This is a little sample of what's coming up on today's show.
Very nice. Brought to you by NyQuil. Anyway, let's look at the news. Okay?
I do have some news.
All right, Kath. So please, without further ado, the news stories. Give us the top four at 4.
It's Tuesday, February 28th. That's the last day of February. Did you know that?
Here we go. That was a good month.
Tomorrow's March 1st.
I like it. The Ides are upon us.
Number 1.
Yes.
According to CBS News, the Supreme Court's conservative wing appeared to doubt the legality of the president's plan to cancel up to $20,000 in student loan debt for millions of Americans. Those oral arguments were heard today in a pair of disputes, where some justices stood on the key question of whether a group of 6 states and 2 borrowers were entitled to sue in the first place remained unclear. A decision in the case, which is expected this summer, will affect roughly 40 million borrowers who are eligible for the relief that the president announced last August. Also, it's going to affect all the people who spent all of their time and energy paying off their student loans before this was announced.
I've heard this phrase, oral arguments before the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Are there other kind of arguments before the Supreme Court? Is like someone smash a chair?
Well, I think... Oral arguments. Well, I think that if the justices have questions, then the attorneys can submit answers in writing after. But I think we should check into that.
The oral arguments.
Seeing as I'm not an attorney.
Right. Kath, please. Opine, would you please, on oral arguments?
With my interior design degree from the Art Institute.
Well, I just thought I'd
break
treat
it
that
down
way.
for you guys.
I mean, as an actor.
Number 2. New findings suggest that your brain, John, and not just yours, but others,
it's a dangerous place in there,
can dynamically change throughout adulthood and are changing the way scientists view the aging brain. And while the brain is largely set up by birth with the creation of new neurons largely complete, how different parts of the brain communicate with one another change over your life. And it's good news because changing brains can meet the challenges set by every life stage. There's a really interesting, lengthy article in today's Washington Post about what happens to your brain when you're an infant, what happens to your brain when you're 6 years old or 16 years old or 36 years old, et cetera, et cetera. When you lose your keys, John, or forget a name, it may feel like your brain isn't working as well as it used to, but new research dispels the belief that plasticity, which is the brain's capacity to respond to change, diminishes in an adult and aging brain. It is a very interesting piece. I encourage you to check it out in today's Post. Number 3, and Batman will return to the mound at PNC.
Bring it.
The Pirates announced today that former Pirate pitcher A.J. Burnett will throw out the ceremonial first pitch to who? To Russell Martin.
What?
For the home opener against the White Sox on April 7th. I am so geeked about that. That is so awesome. The Pirates are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of their 94-win team that ended 2 decades of consecutive losing seasons. Remember that celebration in the clubhouse that night?
I sure do.
It was so great.
I wonder if A.J. Burnett can still throw that ball. I mean, the Pirates could probably sign him.
I bet he can't.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He wrote today, Gotham, it's finally happening.
Nice. Bring it. Let's go, Bucks.
And number 4, I have a weird animal story for you, and it's been a long time since we've had a weird animal story. This happened in Malaysia, John, a shocking video that you may have already seen on Twitter. A bunch of people heard some noises in their home, and so they got some authorities, and the authorities thought, I think we should probably get the people out of the house and figure out what's going on. So they started poking up into the ceiling. 3 enormous pythons fell out of the ceiling. Are you ready for this? There were 3 of them. 2 snakes weighed 70 pounds each and were 16 feet long. The third only weighed 55 pounds and 13 feet. And that is your top 4 at 4.
Where was this?
I'm reading that from Newsweek, but you have to see it online.
What country?
Malaysia. You will lose your mind. Now, what's even more disturbing, if there is anything more disturbing, is that 2 of the snakes were mating when they fell out of the ceiling. Yeah. The snakes may reach ages beyond 20 years. Males breed once they've reached the length of 7 to 9 feet. Females begin breeding once they attain a length of 11 feet.
Imagine if you were sleeping and you felt that come around.
Lexi, did you see this video?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think I did.
It's something.
Don't do that.
I'm sure it's terrifying.
It's very terrifying. Oh, there's a pick-me-up. Speaking of pick-me-ups, our next guest, our first guest, spiritual depression.
Oh, have you ever been in that? I don't know. I didn't know it was a thing.
I did not either, but we'll find out about that next.
101.5 WORD.
You're listening now, so we know you're a fan of the radio station.
I am a big fan.
And we want you to know that we appreciate you.
I am your number 1 fan.
That's why we've developed the Word FM Fan Club. It's free to join, and once you do, you can take part in exclusive surveys and contests.
Yeah, I love contests.
Special offers.
Great giveaways.
Discounts. Freebies.
I'd like to win one of these contests.
Become a member today. Go to wordfm.com/fan club and sign up.
We're big fans. Let's be real. Retirement is expensive, and inflation is making it even harder with the cost of everything going up from pet food to a dozen eggs. Wouldn't it be great if the cost of your health care could go down? Well, Medishare 65 Plus is $99 a month for ages 65 to 74. And for many with Medicare Parts A and B looking at other options, that's 50% or more saved per month. No gimmicks. It's $99 a month, and you can use any Medicare-approved doctor or facility, and you get 24/7 access to telehealth from the convenience of your home. Better yet, MediShare is a Christian nonprofit organization. It's a community that'll pray for you and encourage you. And since we've cut out the middleman, you get to keep the savings. Call now. You can learn more about MediShare 65 Plus. Here's the number: 833-SHARE-55. That's 833-SHARE-55. 833-SHARE-55.
Word FM listeners, in this year radio commercial, I'm going to show you how the famous quote, 2 birds, 1 stone, should actually be 4 birds, 1 stone. I can see you're on the edge of your seat, but let's at least give it a try. It's Ryan from United Faith Mortgage, and what we're seeing from families across the country is how 1 stone, the cash out refinance, is helping families 4 different ways. The cost of everything is currently crazy, which is spiking credit card debt, where interest rates are often 3 to 5 times higher than mortgage interest rates, which is why we're seeing family after family taking advantage of the fact that their home has skyrocketed in value and cashing out that newfound money to pay off the credit card monster, using leftovers on special purchases, setting a bit extra aside for future peace of mind, and the 4th positive is cleaning up debt improves your credit score, giving you better future options. If you're curious what a cash-out refinance would do for you, we are United Faith Mortgage.
United Mortgage Corp, Melville, New York. NMLS number 1330. Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities. Mortgage lender license 22672.
Businesses don't run on automation or algorithms alone. What powers businesses are your people and the people they serve. At Cintas, your dedicated service reps understand what you need to help you keep your employees feeling safe, comfortable, and performing their best. So your business can too. For workwear, essential cleaning products, first aid and safety supplies, and fire protection services, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Are you depressed?
Not currently.
Spiritually depressed.
I don't know what that means.
I did not either. Our next guest, Michelle Van Loon, author of 6 books, her most recent, Translating Your Past, Finding Meaning in Family Ancestry, is going to talk to us about this spiritual depression. Apparently it's a thing. Michelle, welcome to the show.
It is a thing, and it seems maybe timely to chat a bit about it because a whole lot of people are talking about the Jesus Revolution movie right now.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the opposite.
Okay, so let's go back and talk. So the Jesus Revolution movie just premiered yesterday or the day before?
It's Kelsey Grammer, right?
Yes, this is what I've heard. I haven't seen it, but boy, oh boy, online, lots of chatter about it. I'm a child of the Jesus movement myself.
Are you?
So I'm looking forward to seeing it. But here we are now, about 50 years later. It's kind of hard to believe. I still feel like I'm that teenage girl that found Jesus. And so it's interesting. A lot of us over time and at different times in our spiritual life find ourselves feeling a little flatlined. And in a previous book, you mentioned Translating Your Past, but in a previous book that I wrote called Becoming Sage, which explores midlife spirituality, that kind of feeling flatlined spiritually and emotionally often goes along with that stage of life. It doesn't always just accompany that stage of life, of course. All of us know that teen depression is at an all-time high, and people who are in their sunset years also deal with depression. But spiritually, there's also a form of depression that the medieval scholars and practitioners called acedia, which is often translated sloth or laziness, but that isn't exactly the case.
Okay, so I've never heard that word.
Acedia. Acedia.
Yeah, and so who wrote about this, and where would we go to find more information about acedia?
Well, a famous book that kind of addresses this or explores it was written, probably about 15 years ago by writer Kathleen Norris.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And that's where I was first introduced to the concept. She wrote a book called Acedia and Me.
Okay.
And it was basically for her kind of sifting, is this emotional depression? Is this chemical depression? Or is this flatline kind of lack of passion, running my spiritual life on autopilot? Is this a spiritual issue?
Right.
And when I explored the topic in my book, Becoming Sage, I always encourage people to make sure and kind of sort through all the choices. Make sure that, you know, if it's clinical depression, you want to get the appropriate assistance for that, whether it's counseling or medication or whatever. But sometimes, maybe in companionship with that and maybe in contrast with that, there's also this experience of just going flat, not caring. If you've been a believer for a while, then you probably know how to do your spiritual life on autopilot. And you've actually disengaged somewhere or put yourself in neutral. And that feeling of being flatlined spiritually, it can be a form of spiritual warfare, which often has very dramatic connotations. And it can also just be a sign that you are really tired. You've been doing and doing and doing the same thing over and over again. And you've kind of lost that spark. It's not the same exactly as losing your first love that we read about in Revelation, but it is just kind of being disconnected and living on autopilot.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I get that, Michelle. I mean, you know, right? I mean, if anybody, like, okay, you say when you were a teenager is when you first encountered Christ. And then, you know, decades go by, life happens, you know, you get married, you have kids, you buy a house, you pay your taxes, you do your thing. I mean, life's full of ups and downs. So it would just kind of make sense that your spiritual life also has ups and downs as well. Is that what this is? Or is it deeper?
It can be that, but I think it often goes deeper. It goes into the area of temptation, and kind of it can lead you to not good places if you're not kind of vigilant about it. And being vigilant is the opposite of actually what you most want to do when you're feeling just kind of that lack of passion. And I'm not talking about that, you know, you're just tired or you need a rest. You just finished running Vacation Bible School and you really want nothing more than to sit in a recliner and read a book for a couple of weeks. This isn't that. This is something that kind of settles in and takes the life out of your relationship with God and other believers.
Okay, so from your experience, Michelle, or from Kathleen Norris's that you've read about and the other scholars, what's the remedy? Is there one? As with any depression, it's not like you can, you know,
snap your fingers
and have it go away.
Right, and that's the kind of the key. If there is a key to this, it's recognizing that you didn't end up there overnight, and it's probably not going to be just an instant jolt of spiritual energy juice to bring you out of it. Some of those disciplines that may have sustained you over time, they have value if you can at least maintain a little bit of Bible reading and prayer. Even if your prayer is, I don't even know what to say, and I'm not even sure I feel like saying it. Even that is kind of an offensive weapon against that sense of inertia.
Yeah.
Another thing that was really helpful for me was having the ability to be honest with a couple of wise friends, and I started meeting monthly with a spiritual director who would ask me really pointed questions, and just having to verbalize some of that also helped me be able to sort through, maybe what was percolating underneath or what was contributing to that feeling of, I don't even know if I care, and I don't even know how to care right now. So the zeal that we start with as young believers, we cannot sustain that over a lifetime. Faithfulness is what we're called to sustain, not zeal. And it's helpful to remember that as well.
That's good. And so, Michelle, if you're thinking about this, writing about this, and of course, you mentioned someone else writing about it as well. For me, the good thing is whenever I get into the black hole that, the dog comes and visits me, you are not alone. Others have gone before you in this process. Acedia, you're saying it's an ancient word. How many millions have gone before us in that spiritual valley? The dearth of connection with Jesus. Michelle Van Loon is with us. We're talking about Acedia from her book, Becoming Sage, Cultivating Meaning, Purpose, and Spirituality in Midlife. Michelle, before you leave us, one of the things I think may be a cure for Acedia is having a cat sitting on your shoulder.
Oh, no.
Oh, there he goes.
He just ran away. I was gone over the weekend, and when I came back, this cat acted like that was the worst form of betrayal ever. Because this is a cat, and you cannot reason with a cat. You can with the dog, but there is no reasoning with a cat. So she has been very clingy, and my husband was not a good substitute for me. She's my little girl. So
that's super cute. May we have her name, please, Michelle?
She came from the shelter, and that's a great place to get a pet, by the way, is get a shelter pet.
Yep.
Her name is Sheba, and I would not have named her that, but
it is what it is at this point.
We're stuck with it and her.
So that's super sweet. Check out Michelle Van Loon's latest book, Translating Your Past, Finding Meaning in Family Ancestry, Genetic Clues, and Generational Trauma.
Acedia.
We love you, Michelle. Thanks for sharing that
Thanks,
today.
Michelle. Good stuff. We'll take a quick break and come back. $500 million in merchandise. What do you do with that?
This is Kathy Emmons. John and I are grateful for the encouragement we have from all of our advertisers, and especially our friends at Grove City College. Thanks to everyone at Grove City for supporting The Ride Home.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-419-2387. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387.
If your family depends on your income and something happened to you, what would happen to them? You need life insurance, and SelectQuote can help you get it at a price you can afford.
SelectQuote found Jacob, 40, who's in excellent health, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month.
Not in perfect health? Don't worry.
SelectQuote found Tanya, 40, who has type 2 diabetes, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $32 a month.
We shop companies like Protective, Prudential, American General, and others to find you the company with the best rates. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford.
For your free quote, call 1-800-880-7474. That's 1-800-880-7474. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-880-7474.
Select Quote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Roofing, siding, or remodeling?
Want it done right, call Doing It Right.
724 New Roof.
We are everywhere. On your radio at 101.5 WORD-FM Pittsburgh, at wordfm.com, the Word FM mobile app, iHeart, TuneIn, and Odyssey.
Have you or someone you know been diagnosed with cancer? Then you are not alone. At Courage Through Cancer Ministries, we understand how devastating and life-changing a cancer diagnosis and journey can be. And it is our prayer that through our ministry efforts, you find hope, courage, and strength, both now and for each new day. Our toll-free number is 1-855-6-COURAGE, and our website, couragethroughcancer.com.
Mainly clear skies expected for tonight. We'll reach a nighttime low of 31. Tomorrow will be warm with temperatures approaching near record highs with times of clouds and sunshine. A breezy afternoon tomorrow with a high of 68. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a passing shower late, the low 45. Thursday, sunny to partly cloudy skies. We'll reach a high Thursday of 51. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
What to do when there is a sudden end to a line of fashion, a very sudden end. Well, that's what happened with Adidas in October when they cut ties with Kanye West, Yeezy, Yee. It's estimated that Adidas may lose as much as, listen to this figure, $1.3 billion this year.
Because of all the stuff they've already had made.
Yeah. $1.3 billion. Adidas did yearly $2 billion of revenue on that brand.
Did they really?
And that's why Kanye West was like, you can't fire me, right? And of course they did, because of a string of anti-Semitic remarks that went on for months and months and months.
Right.
Many said, well, Yeezy or...
Remember when he was doing pop-up worship services?
Yeah, fabulous stuff.
That?
Yeah.
Remember the awesome choir and the...
Wasn't that long ago.
The James Corden thing on the plane and the... What in the world?
Many people say...
It's mental illness.
Yes, ongoing mental illness. So Adidas, the German company, they don't know what to do because they're sitting on all this merchandise. I mean, warehouses filled of merchandise. Things that were in production, things that were on the shelves. Everything got pulled off and then sent back to the Adidas warehouses. And now, $1.3 billion loss. How does a company survive something like that? And such is the case now. Nike cut its...
I guess that's what happens when you sign a celebrity. That can happen to anybody.
Yep.
You know, when Phil Mickelson decided to, help start the Live Golf Tour.
Yeah.
That was financed by the Saudi... I was going to say by the Saudi government. I don't think it's the government. I think it's private Saudi
They're pretty much one and the
investors.
same,
anyway, the point is that he had an absolute ton of backers that were like, sorry, no. And so when you're paying that much money to a person, they can do, anybody can become wacky.
Yeah, quickly. Now, I'm reading an article from today's Wall Street Journal, and they're saying generally when this happens, I mean, on a much smaller scale, because there's been nothing like this before on this chart, that they would take the merchandise and burn it. So it wouldn't fall into second-party aftermarkets.
Right.
It has a life of its own.
Yeah, because you don't want to be implicated in it if you've got some crazy person who's spouting anti-Semitic stuff like this.
Burberry burnt $37 million of goods in 2018.
And why? Does it say?
It doesn't say that. Now, they destroyed merchandise to the tune of $37 million, which there was a huge outcry about, environmental concerns.
Right.
And just, someone wants a Burberry bag, right? I don't know. But $1.2 billion. Now, sort of a comparable, but not really. Remember Michael Vick, right?
Oh, yeah, with the dog fighting.
Right. That was Nike, 2011. They took a hit, but nowhere near. Essentially, this whole brand was built, Adidas's brand, which is interesting because, when I was a kid, Adidas to me was sort of like the first, you wore the Chuck Taylors, right?
Right.
Those were the brand. But then Adidas came in the 70s, and they became, on the running craze, they sort of took hold of
before
the sports.
Nike.
Yeah, of sports merchandising. But then they've been supplanted, of course, by Nike and other brands. They made a comeback in the past 15 to 20 years.
Yeah, they're pretty big again.
They are big. There's a little bit hipster to it.
Yeah.
But he took a hit of $1.2 billion. How do you recreate yourself?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the conversation is about God's regret. Genesis tells us that he had it right before the flood. What does it mean about God? Does it mean he's indecisive, or what does it mean he thinks about us?
He regrets making us, his creation.
You and me.
Maybe.
101.5 WORD.
Everywhere you go, anywhere you go, Word FM goes with you. That's because we're no longer trapped inside a radio. We're now everywhere you are, and you carry us around in your pocket. We're ubiquitous.
There's an app for that, right?
On TuneIn, on iHeart, on our own app, on wordfm.com.
The iPhone.
The iPhone.
The iPhone.
iPhone. On your iPad, iPhone, and Android. We're always with you because we're inside your pocket. Whatever you do, don't lose us. 101.5 WORD.
Doing it right. Roofing, siding, and remodeling. The first Owens Corning MVP in Pittsburgh and one of the longest tenured platinum contractors in the Pittsburgh region. Doing it right. Roofing, siding, and remodeling. Call 724-NEW-ROOF. That's 724-NEW-ROOF.
Want it done right, call Doing It Right.
If you're a business owner, imagine getting up to $26,000 per employee. There's still time for business owners to file for the Employee Retention Tax Credit Program. This program is for business owners who continue to pay their W-2 employees during the COVID pandemic. Many businesses qualify and simply do not know it. All business types and industries may qualify. You can claim the credit even if you received a PPP loan. This is a cash payment and not a loan, and can be claimed now. The licensed CPAs and tax professionals at DH Tax and Consulting have been serving business owners across the country for over 15 years. The best part is that until you receive your cash payment, you don't pay us a dime. Our tax credit specialists are available now at 833-ERC-FILE, and your tax payment estimate is quick, easy, and free. That's 833-ERC-FILE to qualify you and your business for up to $26,000 per W-2 employee for free federal aid. Call us now at 833-ERC-FILE. That's 833-ERC-FILE.
Let's be real. Retirement is expensive, and inflation is making it even harder with the cost of everything going up from pet food to a dozen eggs. Wouldn't it be great if the cost of your health care could go down? Well, Medishare 65 Plus is $99 a month for ages 65 to 74. And for many with Medicare Parts A and B, looking at other options, that's 50% or more saved per month. No gimmicks. It's $99 a month, and you can use any Medicare-approved doctor or facility, and you get 24/7 access to telehealth from the convenience of your home. Better yet, Medishare is a Christian nonprofit organization. It's a community that'll pray for you and encourage you. And since we've cut out the middleman, you get to keep the savings. Call now. You can learn more about Medishare 65 Plus. Here's the number: 833-SHARE-55. That's 833-SHARE 55. 833-SHARE-55.
Roofing, siding, or remodeling?
Want it done right, call Doing It Right.
724-NEW-ROOF.
Was that Frank Sinatra said, regrets? I've had a few.
But then again,
too few to mention. Regrets.
I hate that song.
Yeah, it is.
I really do. I love Frank.
It's a weird
but
anthem,
I hate
isn't
that
it?
song.
Yeah, yeah. They used to play that. Yeah, it's just a weird song.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously, all of us have regrets. But God is not like us.
No, he is not.
Right? He's not a man that he should change his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it mean in the 6th chapter of Genesis when it kind of intimates that he did?
Yeah.
Right? So, human beings have fallen into some wretched state of immorality. and God says that he's sorry that he made them. Mm-hmm. Well, the question is, what does that mean? Dr. Hugh Ross is with us to talk about it. Hugh is an astrophysicist and author. He's also the founder of Reasons to Believe, an organization that researches and communicates how discoveries about nature harmonize with the words of the Bible. His books are many, aren't they, John?
Voluminous,
yeah, including Improbable Planet. Hugh, we're glad you're back.
Well, thank you for having me back.
Always a pleasure, Hugh. So that's the question, right? I mean, does God, as Cass said in Genesis, regret making us?
Well, we worship a God that never changes. He's immutable. He says the laws of physics never change. He never changes. So his plans never change. His mind and character and decisions never change. Nevertheless, he does have emotions. So, for example, he rejoices and cheers when he sees one of us obeying his commands and fulfilling ministry on his behalf. He also has very much regret and grief when he sees human beings rebelling against him and pursuing evil intents. So we shouldn't be surprised that this God has emotions. He put emotions within all of us. The angels also express emotions. It's something that tells us that we're one of God's higher beings and that we're like him. We're created in the image of God, and therefore we who are followers of Jesus Christ, we join him in rejoicing when we see another human being following Jesus Christ, and then we have grief and sorrow when we see, say, one of our children or one of our friends going down some autonomous path and expressing evil. We shouldn't be surprised that God had that same emotion. I think with Genesis 6:6, though, a lot of people say it seems like God regretted creating human beings at all. And we need to put that in the context that God created in order to expand the expression of his love. I mean, the Holy Spirit, God the Father, God the Son, they were in a loving relationship with one another, but they wanted to magnify their expression of their love, so they created beings that are capable of love. And, we could have had a very different situation, what we see in Genesis chapter 6, if God had created us with like a weak love or made us kind of robotic, where we all wind up obeying him because we're designed that way. Mm-hmm. But if it's weak love or weak free will, we get weak love. Yeah. And God wanted strong love, which meant he necessarily took the risk that a number of us would choose to disobey him and pursue evil rather than pursue virtue and love. And so that meant that he would have grief when people would do that. But his ultimate goal is that we human beings would have the capability of experiencing not just weak love, but strong love, where we exercise our free will in a loving manner.
Wow. Okay. So does that get to the kind of book, the kind of writing that Genesis is? That we need to take into account? I don't know. I guess the question is, how are we reading the Bible, to me, Hugh, which is that, when we read through everything in the Psalms, we recognize that we should recognize that the psalmists are having emotions, like you said, right? They feel like they've been abandoned by God. So feeling like you're abandoned by God is not the same as being abandoned by God. Mm-hmm. But the scriptures allow such, a great, a huge amount of expression, all sorts of different ways to express ourselves. So is this just another manner of God expressing himself?
It is, but I think it's also encouraging to us human beings that God is not distant. He's in relationship with us. And then in the deep kind of relationship, there's these strong emotions being expressed. I'd be worried if God wasn't expressing strong emotions. That would tell me he doesn't really care about his creation. But he cares very deeply, and therefore these kinds of emotions get expressed. I think Genesis 6 is also telling us God really does care for us very deeply, and that we humans think, gee, wouldn't it be great if we lived 800 or 900 years? And the early chapters of Genesis are basically telling us we're far better off having short lifespans than long lifespans, because when you let people live a long time, it shifts the advantage to those people that are intent on evil. I mean, think of the consequences of a serial killer living to be 900 years. Look at all the damage he's going to be doing. In fact, I look at the early chapters of Genesis as an era when the wicked people were wiping out the righteous, so there was only one righteous family left. And God said, okay, I think humanity has learned the lesson. We're going to change things. And he shortened our lifespan to a maximum of 120 years. And several decades are more than enough time to establish our righteousness before God, but it's a short enough time to ensure that evil doesn't run out of control. Mm-hmm. And so I look at those early chapters of Genesis saying, God cares for us so much that he's willing to give us lessons that we all need to hear, and recognizing, too, he cares for us in a very deep, personal way.
Mm-hmm. From Reasons to Believe, we're speaking with Dr. Hugh Ross. Hugh, go back and talk a little bit about God and emotion. I mean, I know my emotions. Often they can be very strong, but are my emotions the same as God's emotions? I mean, is God up and also down?
Well, I think God has stronger emotional feelings than we human beings do. We're created in the image of God, but as it says in Hebrews 1, only Jesus Christ is the exact representation of God. So yes, we're able to experience some of the things God experienced, but not at the depth of level. After all, he's aware of things we're not aware. And so I think he feels, quote, a lot more regret and grief than we're aware of, because he sees the depth of the sin and evil that is going on, whereas we humans see the tip of the iceberg. So the regret and grief that we experience is a small percentage of what God is experiencing. But I also look at the positive. The joy that we humans experience, the love that we express, is just the tip of what God is experiencing and expressing.
Dr. Hugh Ross,
the good news is, yeah, go ahead.
Please finish.
The good news is that's going to be magnified exponentially when we join him in the new creation. Yeah. So we're just getting a taste of what it's going to be like when we're with him in the new creation.
That is good news.
Dr. Hugh Ross is with us. His works, as I said, are many, including The Creator and the Cosmos and Why the Universe is the Way It Is. Hugh, I want to ask you about that scripture verse that I quoted before you came in, which is from Numbers 23. And it says, God is not human, that he should lie, nor a human being that he should change his mind. So for people who are listening to the show and either aren't from a church, aren't used to being in a church, don't read the Bible, or maybe people who do read the Bible and think, wow, that sounds a lot like there are contradictions in the Bible. Can you talk about that? Can you talk about how we read different books and how we make sense of what they say?
Well, I think that's the beauty of the Christian faith, is that our holy book is a combination of 66 books written by 39 different authors over 15 centuries of human history, and yet they're completely consistent. I mean, that's the miracle of the Bible. All these authors over all that time, yet not one book of the Bible contradicts any other book of the Bible. I wasn't raised in a Christian home. I spent 18 months spending an hour a day minimum reading and studying the Bible, looking for a contradiction or an error in the Bible. At the end of those 18 months, I realized there's much I don't understand about the Bible, but I can't find a single provable error or contradiction. All 66 books are completely consistent, and the only explanation for that is these 66 books must be inspired by the one that created the universe, the one for whom it's impossible to lie or deceive.
Amen and amen. Hugh, before you leave us, of course, we've had conversations about the majesty of space and the universe that we find ourselves in. Just last week, there was another discovery by the James Webb Telescope that talks about our understanding of the universe and early creation. Could you just briefly, for our audience, go into that just a touch?
Yes, there's been a lot on the web about this, how astronomers are finding bright, massive galaxies in the early history of the universe, and this has led to some speculating. Maybe this isn't consistent with the Big Bang creation model that the Bible predicts. Maybe we need to make some adjustments. And what people need to realize is these initial images by the James Webb Space Telescope are short exposure images. The deep space surveys are going to come later. And the one that's the deepest that's been published so far is a 30-hour exposure of a cluster of galaxies. I posted it on my Facebook page. it reveals 50,000 galaxies on a single image in the early universe. And as I mentioned, we would expect that we're going to discover the most massive and brightest early galaxies first. They're the easiest to detect.
Yeah.
But to get a proper statistical sample, we need to do a deep survey. And in that 30-hour exposure, guess what? The massive bright galaxies were rare. The faint small ones greatly predominated amongst those 50,000 galaxies, which tells us there's no problem with the Big Bang creation model. The James Webb Space Telescope is actually giving us stronger evidence for the Big Bang model, not weaker evidence. And so Christians need not worry that we're going to one day discover, gee, maybe the universe doesn't have a beginning. Maybe it wasn't designed by God. No, the evidence is getting stronger and stronger with every day that goes by, that the universe was specially created by God from outside of space and time and exquisitely designed to make possible our existence in this universe.
That's Dr. Hugh Ross. You can check out Hugh's books wherever you get your books. His books include Weathering Climate Change, A Fresh Approach, Why the Universe is the Way It Is, Designed to the Core, and Navigating Genesis, A Scientist's Journey Through Genesis 1.
Hugh, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, it's my pleasure, too. Thank you.
Reasons to Believe. It's a wonderful ministry. Check it out. Hugh Ross. We'll take a quick break and come back and pivot. Let's talk about monkey bars next.
Wouldn't it be great to work in a place that makes a positive impact on the people, businesses, and churches around you? That place exists. I know because I work there. My name is Cassie, and I'm the digital marketing specialist with Salem Media Group in Pittsburgh. Right now, 101.5 Word FM and Salem Surround have an opening for one talented salesperson to join our team. Is that you? We'll bring the training, you just bring the talent. An understanding of digital marketing and some direct sales experience will definitely help you stand out. What are you waiting for? Take the first step to a career that is challenging, rewarding, and helps to create terrific results for our amazing customers. Join the sales team at Salem Media Group Pittsburgh. Email your resume to brad.marshall@salempittsburgh.com. That's brad.marshall@salempittsburgh.com. Salem Media Group is an equal opportunity employer.
Do you remember what was kept in a spring house? If you're an old timer, you know that a spring house was used for storing fresh, cold milk. In 84, Pennsylvania, we have another kind of spring house. Our spring house is an old-fashioned country store filled with all kinds of old-time gifts, great country foods, and you guessed it, fresh, cold milk. You see, the Spring House in 84 is also a dairy farm where we milk our own cows, pasteurize and homogenize the milk, and sell it all through the store. We've had people tell us it has to be some special kind of gourmet milk. We don't add anything to the cow's diet or to the milk. It's just nature's purest, most perfect food, and we love the way our customers love it. We also make a chocolate milk you would think is a chocolate shake, an old-fashioned buttermilk that people drive miles to get, and a 40% heavy cream that's wonderful for luscious desserts. Our 2% and our skim are the greatest sellers. Come and try some Springhouse milk at the Springhouse in 84.
Rhema Christian School is a private school in Moon Township serving children in preschool through 8th grade. Recognized for its commitment to a biblically integrated curriculum that nurtures a Christian worldview and academic excellence, Rhema aims to develop the whole child, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially. Rhema is a true community of families who desire to raise up the next generation of godly leaders, also offering programs for homeschool families, accepting enrollment now for the current school year and opening soon for the 2023-24 school year. Visit RhemaChristianschool.org.
This spring, join Danny Goki, Jordan Feliz, and Blanca on the Jesus People Tour, heading to your city. Join Danny, Jordan, and Blanca in Moon Township, Pennsylvania at Impact Christian Church on Thursday, March 23rd. That's Moon Township, Pennsylvania on March 23rd. The Jesus People Tour, live in your city. More information at transparentproductions.com.
How many happy hours as a kid did you spend climbing on monkey bars?
Oh, my gosh. Well,
every day, Monday through Friday, pretty much.
Recess.
Yeah.
Monkey bars. Monkey bars have a really weird, like a lot of things, a weird beginning. They were not intended, essentially, for kids to climb on. So the story goes, many, many years ago, a Princeton mathematician, he built a bamboo set of monkey bars, first time ever, to show kids to visualize 3 dimensions. This is what 3 dimensions are all about. And so you can get on these things and climb through them and have a good understanding of the dimensions of the world around us. Well, the kids, of course,
just started climbing on them.
They were much more interested in climbing because they were bamboo. Imagine building bamboo. So years later, Ted Hinton was his name. He was the son of the original inventor of the monkey bars. October 23rd, 1923, he became a patent attorney and was awarded the first of a series of U.S. patents for the, quote, jungle gym. And then the monkey bars were born. Of course, these days, no one's aware of these scientific endeavors, the reasoning behind the playground standby, because climbing, since long as man has been on this earth, it's been a natural sort of resource to climb. I mean, as a kid, we climbed trees even before we climbed monkey bars, probably. Today, the invention continues to fuel a debate about children's health, in part because monkey bars result in more injuries than any other playground structure. Various versions of the apparatus sent 500,000 kids to hospital emergency rooms from 2009 to 2014. 500,000 kids, which is really surprising. One, the monkey bars are still around, considering how dangerous they have been, and with the safety things that are built into kids' playgrounds now, sort of with that rubberized texture, right? It wasn't like, we grew up on a concrete playground. I mean, how many kids I knew?
Well, no, dirt.
No.
It wasn't concrete under the monkey bars.
At St. Anselm's, it was concrete.
What?
Yeah. And we climbed in the monkey bars.
At Highcliffe Elementary, it was dirt.
Dirt.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little softer, I suppose, right?
A lot softer than concrete.
I remember, we knew as kids, we get a little bit older and bolder, maybe like 5th or 6th grade. Whenever recess was coming towards an end, Sister Sebastian, who was the principal of our elementary school, St. A's, we would see her coming out the door, and she always had a big bell, and she would clang this bell. And it meant wherever you were, you had to immediately freeze. And then she would address you. So we would see her coming out, and all the guys on the monkey bars, we would strike like crazy poses. and like be hanging off the monkey bars.
Sure.
And then she caught on, and she would address us. Okay, you smart Alex over there on the monkey bars. But I wonder, have you seen a playground with monkey bars around?
Yeah. Well, I think there's...
I'm not sure. Like Frick Park, there's no monkey bars at Frick Park. Lex, did you play on monkey bars?
When I was a kid, yeah.
When you were a kid. So there's still where did you play monkey bars?
I would play on the monkey bars when I would go to camp. I used to go camping a lot.
But not at your school?
No, not really. Yeah, no, not usually at school. But they did have them. I just didn't play on them.
Okay. But they were there, though.
Yes.
And Kath, they were at your school.
They were at my school, yeah. I mean...
Did you ever fall off them?
I'm sure I did. I'm sure I did. But we were just talking about the story yesterday that there's an organization trying to bring some legislation to forbid dogs putting their heads out of cars. Because some dogs are injured, and I just feel like I felt badly for the dogs, because I was like, really, we're going to legislate our way into complete safety and dullness, and that's kind of what
I told you my story of Vern.
I know, and that was a horrible story.
He survived.
Okay, but
what about dogs in seatbelts? You see that, right? That makes sense.
No, I think it makes sense.
Yeah. So if a dog's in a seatbelt, he can't stick his head out the window.
Unless he's very tall.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. We have to balance safety and creativity, joy, freedom, those things which are also important parts of growing up.
We've legislated common sense before, which is our seatbelts, because before that, of course, right?
Okay, but we're not the same as dogs.
Well, we have no common sense.
101.5 WORD-FM Pittsburgh. On your smart speaker by saying, play the word Pittsburgh. And on your phone via the Word FM mobile app, iHeart, TuneIn, and Odyssey.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The Supreme Court hearing arguments in a legal fight over President Biden's plan to wipe away or reduce student loans. During oral arguments, Chief Justice John Roberts says the program is estimated to cost the government some $400 billion.
If you're talking about this in the abstract, I think most casual observers would say if you're going to give up that much amount of money, if you're going to affect the obligations of that many Americans on a subject that's of great controversy, they would think that's something for Congress to act on. And if they haven't acted on it, then maybe that's a good lesson to say for the president or the administrative bureaucracy, that maybe that's not something they should undertake on their own.
So far, Republican-appointed judges on lower courts have blocked that plan. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 137 points, but the Nasdaq is ahead 56. This is SRN News.
Dennis Prager here. Sue and I mean it. Dogs are part of our family. We love Otto and Snoopy so much. There's nothing quite like their loyal companionship. So we provide them with Rough Greens. In fact, I just talked to my wife about it because we want them to be healthy and we want them to be with us as long as possible. That's true. I know Sebastian Gorka feels the same way.
The Pragers and I couldn't agree more. Our pups, Killian and Leia, rely on us to provide what's best for them. And naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black has packed Rough Greens full of vitamins, minerals, digestive enzymes, omega oils, and more that supplement their food in a way that has shown us great results. Trying out Rough Greens is an easy yes, recommended by me, Dr. G.
Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm so proud that the Pragers and Sebastian Gorka have entrusted their dog's health to Rough Greens. I'm so confident that Rough Greens can help your dog, I'm offering you a free Jumpstart trial bag. Just cover the shipping. Yes, your dog's food is dead food, but you can bring it back to life with Rough Greens. Go to ruffgreens.com.
If you're with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, join the flood of people switching to Pure Talk. The average family saves over $800 a year by switching. Get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data for just $30 a month. Or if you still want unlimited data, you can get that and still save a fortune. Go to puretalk.com, type in your address to find the coverage at your home, then enter promo code HALF, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. That's puretalk.com, promo code HALF.
How does your family prepare for Easter? Truth for Life with Alistair Begg is making available a family devotional that will take you and your school-aged children through the events of Jesus' death and resurrection. 14 daily readings beginning with Jesus' entry into Jerusalem and ending with Pentecost. This colorfully illustrated book, titled Darkest Night, Brightest Day, will spark plenty of family discussion. Get your copy at truthforlife.org/donate.
Train up a child in the way they should go. Well, you know the rest. It's a calling you take very seriously as a Christian parent. And Trinity Christian School in Forest Hills seeks to honor your commitment by working together with parents to prepare students who are academically sound and spiritually ready to take their place in the world through a classical approach to education that helps build a faith from which they will never depart. Trinity Christian School, one of the top K-12 schools in Allegheny County, at trinitychristian.net.
This is Tim Seckler inviting you to tune in each and every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on Word FM 101.5 for the Life and Legacy Show, sponsored by my law firm, the Seckler Law Firm. Each week, we'll talk about your family's well-being as it relates to elder law, nursing home stays, estate planning, and keeping your hard-earned savings. And if you missed the Life and Legacy Show, you will find it archived at secklerlawfirm.com. See you Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on Word FM 101.5 for the Life and Legacy Show.
Mainly clear skies expected for tonight. We'll reach a nighttime low of 31. Tomorrow will be warm with temperatures approaching near record highs with times of clouds and sunshine. A breezy afternoon tomorrow with a high of 68. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a passing shower late, the low 45. Thursday, sunny to partly cloudy skies. We'll reach a high Thursday of 51. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
Welcome to another edition of The Ride Home with John and Kathy, live from the Salem-Pittsburgh studios. And now here are your hosts, John Hall and Kathy Emmons.
Greetings unto you. During the break here at the top of the hour, I looked out the window at Parkway Center. There are maybe 15 cars in the parking lot. 15 for this office complex. Now, before the pandemic, I'd have to walk to the auxiliary parking lot to get over here because the place was clogged.
Right.
Okay, while U.S. offices are still more than half empty because of the pandemic, in other parts of this world, Europe, the Middle East, Asia, offices are 70, 90, sometimes more than 110% full, as opposed to where we are.
How does something become more than 100% full?
That more people are back, more people are working in offices
than
now.
there were before the
pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so what they say is that here in the U.S., bigger homes, longer commutes, a tighter labor market help explain why Americans would say, no thanks, I don't need to go into the office anymore. The divergence in return to the office habits not only benefit overseas landlords more than the U.S. peers, it has a direct impact on how quickly metro areas rebound. Now, look, I mean, this is a microcosm. Remember, there used to be a little coffee shop.
Sure.
In the lobby.
There used to be 2 restaurants.
They're all gone.
Right.
All gone.
Well, not one of them is still there.
Oh, right. But
Yeah.
that's mostly relies on the hotel, which is next to us here.
Sure.
If you go downtown during regular business hours, seriously, it's a ghost town. It really is. There's hardly anybody there. Now, in other parts of the world, they're saying, living arrangements. Because Europeans and especially Asians, their homes and their
Very
apartments
small.
much smaller. Get me out of here.
Right.
I'll go to the office as a means of having a little more privacy, a little more space, right? I mean, Hong Kong small apartments, for example, often house multi-generations, making working from home, of course, less appealing. Suburban sprawl also means that many Americans have longer, more tedious commutes plagued by worsening traffic jams, another reason to stay home, while the number of European cities also have longer commutes, longer than New York and Chicago, but according to mobility services Moonvid Inc., they have public transit systems that are superior to us here in the U.S.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it doesn't help that U.S. offices were emptier before the pandemic. A construction glut led to higher vacancy rates. Even within leased offices, companies tended to put fewer people on each floor than their European and Asian peers. So,
and when those people don't come back, then it seems like you're working in a football field by yourself.
Well, here's the deal. They end this by saying this, that sitting in big, mostly empty offices, people find the experience depressing, making them more likely to stay at home than they would be in the first place. Well, you can see it here.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this floor, there used to be people crowding this floor that we're on.
Right.
The whole building was crowded. Now, I mean, seriously, when you get on the elevator and someone's on the elevator with you, it's like an event.
I know. It's so shocking.
What are you doing here? It's always surprising. I always have a conversation. What floor are you on? What are you guys doing? There is nobody, and I mean truly nobody here.
Right. I still have a hard time acclimating to it. But when I think about being in Europe and the different lifestyles that they have, one of the things I enjoyed most as a visitor is just being out in the squares. There are tons and tons and tons and tons of people who are out in squares during the day, during the evening, after dinner, because their spaces are small, and so therefore they're all together, which is why, a place like Italy was hit so hard by COVID when it started, because everybody's always together.
Sure.
Right? So, if and that's the way a lot, there were no heat in houses for a long time. If you wanted to be warm, you'd have to go to the tavern because that's where they had the fire.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way it was. We have so much space here that we can afford to live in our own little enclaves. I never considered, though, that way of living is one of the things that was going into our approach to the post-COVID era.
Yep.
That's really interesting.
It surely is.
Well, if those are the factors that are contributing to Americans not going back, none of those factors are changing.
No.
I mean, it's not like we're going to have shorter commutes, right? It's not like we're living in smaller houses. Like, it just seems like our geography, if this is true, is just contributing to how we're dealing with COVID, and that's just is what it is.
So employers will have to put their foot down and say, sorry, this is all over. You're coming back or you're no longer employed, which I can't imagine. And we've got a friend who works for a big pharmaceutical company, a gigantic building. Nobody's there.
Right.
Or they're working hybrid, maybe come in the office one day a week, what that whole thing's like. I mean, the employer is the one who's in control, right?
Right. And I still have to say, I don't think it's good for people.
To be at home.
Yes.
It wasn't good for us.
It wasn't good for us. But I'm not saying that you and I are, the
prototypical.
Right.
I think we're social beings.
Yeah. I just don't. For most people, I just don't think it's good to work from home. As speaking as someone who did it for a year and a half, I just feel like
it was fun for a while.
We didn't want to come back. We were scared to come back. There were all these anxieties related to coming back.
Yeah, right.
Once we came back, though, I just felt so much healthier.
Oh, man.
Than I did at home.
The best part of coming back is going home. There's nobody on the roads.
Right.
I mean, it took 45 minutes to get home.
Right.
Now, boom, I'm cruising.
Lex, did you work during COVID you were still in school for some part of COVID.
Well, you were in Texas.
I was still at school when COVID had hit. And at that point I was not working from home. What I did do, however, is that if we did get, because at school, if you got sick, if you got COVID, you got sent home. And so that didn't really help someone like me who was working, living paycheck to paycheck in college.
Yeah.
And so what my professors do, what a lot of people did, is that they would try to make it work hybrid or make it work online, which was very interesting to see a lot of the time. But yeah, I mean, working from home is always the most depressing thing.
You
ever.
think so too?
100%.
Yeah.
And even my friend who very recently was making good money doing completely like work from home stuff. She was working for a pharmaceutical company and was working with patients, and she ended up coming back to a retail position. And I was like, why would you do that? You were making good money. There's no way that they're paying you as much as you were probably making when you were working for the pharmaceutical company. And she was like, I could not stand working at home anymore because I would get up, go to my desk that was in my bedroom.
Right.
I'd work for 8 hours a day, and then I'd go back and lay back on my bed. Like
that is really depressing.
And the hardest part about it too was she was telling me that a lot of her patients, she works with older patients, and so her patients were passing away, and she had no way to kind of mourn them.
Yeah, sure.
And with other people, so it was very hard for her.
Interesting.
I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, I mean, will we ever get back to so-called normal?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if Europe and Asia are any model, the answer is yes.
They're already up and running.
But
here in the U.S., I don't know. Okay, we'll take a break, come back. Why guilt is good news this Lenten season. Jay Slocum joins us next on The Ride Home. Pittsburgh's Christian Talk on Word FM.
101.5 WORD.
In an age of diversity and political correctness, we're told that we shouldn't criticize anyone else's religious beliefs, no matter what. So where does that leave Bible-believing Christians? Should we stay silent when someone's views about salvation don't square with what the Bible teaches? John MacArthur addresses that question as he continues his study, Delivered by God, on Grace to You.
This is John MacArthur inviting you to listen to Grace to You every weekday morning at 7 a.m. on 101.5 Word FM.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Mike Lindell with MyPillow is launching the MyPillow 2.0. When Mike invented MyPillow, it had everything you could ever want in a pillow. Now, nearly 20 years later, he's discovered a new technology that makes it even better. The MyPillow 2.0 has the patented adjustable fill of the original MyPillow, and now has a brand new fabric that is made with a temperature-regulating thread. The MyPillow 2.0 is the softest, smoothest, coolest pillow you'll ever own. Hey, this is John Hall. For my exclusive listeners, the MyPillow 2.0 2.0 is buy one, get one free with promo code WORD. MyPillow 2.0 temperature regulating technology is 100% made in the USA and comes with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Just go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener square to the buy one, get one free offer. Just when you thought MyPillow couldn't get any better, MyPillow 2.0 gives you the best pillow ever. Enter promo code WORD or call 800-391-0954 to get your MyPillow 2.0s now.
I didn't think it was possible to meet someone like Susan. We just clicked after realizing we each have a strong sense of self and share the same core values in life.
After taking our advanced personality test, Daniel and Susan matched on Silver Singles, the secure dating site for 50-plus singles who know what they want. Sign up today at silversingles.com/meet. That's silversingles.com/meet.
Paid actors representing true customer testimonials. Names have been changed.
When it comes to your child's education, do you feel like you have a partner in your current school? Or is it more like you're on your own? As you look ahead to next year, now's a perfect time to consider a quality Christian education with a school who will be a true educational partner for you and your family. Many of our area's finest Christian schools are offering half-price tuitions for first-time enrollees, like Champion Christian School in Champion, PA. Find a school that's right for you at wordfm.com/tuitions.
How does your family prepare for Easter? Truth for Life with Alistair Begg is making available a family devotional that will take you and your school-aged children through the events of Jesus' death and resurrection. 14 daily readings beginning with Jesus' entry into Jerusalem and ending with Pentecost. This colorfully illustrated book, titled Darkest Night, Brightest Day, will spark plenty of family discussion. Get your copy at truthforlife.org/donate.
I think it's fair to say that there are certain groups of people, dare I say Jews and Catholics, who are known more for carrying their guilt than the rest of humanity. And I'm not quite sure why that is. I'm sure that goes into a lot of different conversations about that. Of course, it's been mined for comedy. There's no doubt about that. But is guilt a good thing?
Guilt's certainly promoted by different family systems in addition to the religious systems that you brought out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can it be good? I mean, I think we talk about it in this culture pretty purely in negative terms.
Yeah. Reverend Jay Slocum is back with us. He's a rector at St. Thomas Anglican Church in Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, to talk to us about why guilt is good news this Lenten season. Hey, Jay, welcome back to the show.
Hi, John and Kathy. It is great to be with you. And yes, indeed, people are guilty of guilting people.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
But I think,
is that good or bad?
I think guilting is probably a form of emotional abuse. I'm not sure that constantly making your kids or your family members feel bad because they're not meeting expectations, et cetera, is quite what I have in mind around the good news of guilt. But it's certainly... St. Paul tells us that in your anger, do not sin. He doesn't tell us our anger is sin, but we can see how anger turns into sin so easily.
Yeah. But you're saying, Jay, guilt is good. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason for guilt in our lives.
Yeah, so there's a reason for guilt in our lives. In the Lenten tradition, we turn it up pretty high, and the old folks used to call it mortification, and it's similar to going for the annual checkup. It may not be it's a necessity, and I certainly would say it's good news when you hear that the doctor finally figured out what was wrong with you.
Yeah.
Now, you don't want that to happen, but when it does, you don't want to live in pain or in discomfort or with a cancer that you never knew you had that you couldn't get rid of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So guilt functions in the human heart as an alarm system. God didn't make us to have garbage inside of us, and so when we sin, we get this thing called a guilty conscience, and it's actually a gift because it tells us that something's in us that shouldn't be there. So in that way, guilt is great news. Now, think of the people who don't feel any guilt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These are the sociopaths and serial killers.
Right.
That's and think about, the degrees to which people have rationalized their wrong in order to justify their sin. Think of the Holocaust, or think of our tradition of holding slaves, or think of, the abortion culture. There's a lot of guilt there. But people are doing everything they can, double backflips, to try to rationalize away sin, and it just makes people miserable.
Yeah.
The doctors will tell you if you harbor bitterness against your neighbor for long enough, you'll end up with an ulcer, right? Or worse. It's actually really bad to hold on to junk. So we entered Lent, and I was thinking about the first time I ever stole something. I was 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the big flea market in the little town I grew up with and saved my lawn mowing money and blew it all on, funnel cake and fireworks. and then wanted this little Coca-Cola necklace, a little 7-Up can. It was a little 7-Up can, a little green 7-Up label. It was a tiny little necklace. I was going to give it to a girl. I didn't have any money, so I waited till my friends weren't looking, and I stole it off of the table. And I rode my bike home with my brothers and sisters, and I got home, and my little brother, who didn't accompany us, he was too young, he said, "Where'd you get that necklace?" I said, "What?" And he looked at me and said, "You look like you stole it." And it was like Nathan the prophet just came to King David to tell him, "You're the man," I mean, it may as well been. And I thought, can I get away with riding my bike all the way back down there to get rid of that thing? And so I did. I pedaled in the blazing heat of the July 4th weekend, and I put that thing snuck up and put it back on the vendor's table.
Wow.
And as I put it on the table, dropped it, he looked at me and said, "Are you going to buy that?" And I said, "No, sir, sorry," and ran away. And I wept all the way home. And the reason for that was twofold. One, I felt the massive relief of my guilt going away. And I also felt the sadness that my father would have felt if he would have known what I did, because my dad was a man who was honest to a fault. So is that good news or not? Now, my little brother just had to look at me and say, "You look like you stole it," because I was so bad at stealing. I was this tender little guy at 12. What a good thing, What if I had harbored? What if I couldn't have gotten that filthy thing off me, and I started rationalizing it? And so Lent is this season. It is not a season to try to earn our salvation or somehow figure out a way to please God. God knows exactly what's in our hearts. And he didn't make us to have sin in our hearts. And so when we break a commandment or we do a wrong, he gives us this gift of a guilty conscience. Now, that might not be popular in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
David Letterman, when he had an affair, he got up and did a monologue about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
I do, yeah.
It made me so sad because he was transparent, but he wasn't vulnerable. He leveraged it to further his comedic career.
Or he dealt with it the only way he could.
There it is, Kathy, I think maybe fairer. And that's the second piece of this. The church has a long tradition of dealing with sin, of having an office where you can come and talk to a pastor. We have a service where many churches, even the most broad, I call them box churches or smoke machine churches, the big box place that has a great band and an awesome message. They'll have a healing ministry. They'll have folks you can go and talk to as a counselor. If you go to a lawyer, you go to a doctor, you go to a priest or a pastor, it's called the professionals. We're actually bound to keep confidences and it's because sin is a cancerous thing, and to confess it, it can be very dangerous. You don't want that sort of thing. You don't want a press conference for that sort of thing. You got to take care of it carefully. And I think the church has been a sort of spiritual hospital for people for centuries. And Lent is part of that tradition. It's when, you go. I always say you wouldn't get a major surgery out on the street. You wouldn't do that out in public. We're very careful about going into the surgical theater after all the steps we take and get anesthetized and then have it taken out of us. So for me, as an Anglican at least, a person from one of the older traditions, we really see it as an opportunity to draw people into an opportunity to get the stuff that's burdening them off of them. Because Jesus paid for it all with his blood. We don't have to hold it.
Jay, talk about, from an Anglican perspective, what confession is like, the physicality of it. I mean, I grew up as a Catholic schoolboy, and I sat in a little box. Of course, people who are not Catholic know what that's like in movies and TV shows and whatnot. In an Anglican, what do you do?
Yeah, so we start with the notion that none must, all can, some should. So you're not going to go to hell if you don't go to a priest and confess your sins, right? Yeah. So you can confess your sins to God, and he will wash them away. So we start there. Yeah. But I'm a physical person, and there's sometimes I need to see somebody and hear somebody, and I need a counsel. So we have an office, actually at St. Thomas out in Gibsonia on Tuesday of Holy Week. We're going to have something called Castaway Tuesday, and it's going to be a fire pit out near our pavilion next to our church, and we're just going to have a place where people can come and write down their sins of pride or guilt or shame or theft or adult, whatever it is. And then I'm just going to be with people to come up, and I'm going to say words of comfort to them that God puts away their sin forever. That's what the Psalms say. He puts it away. And then we're going to cast it into the fire. And it's just a more creative way of doing what's in our prayer book. And it's just a simple office where you come in confidence and you say, here are the things that have been weighing on me. And folks don't have to... you don't have to give people the gory details of your garbage. You can just say, hey, these are the things that have been weighing on me. Sometimes people need to be very specific, and that's a pastor is willing to take that on, in order for a person here. I led a guy to Christ who was holding on to, this was 20 years ago, I wouldn't even share if it was possible for anybody to ever know it, but, he was a guy who was in Vietnam, and he had murdered people from the back of a helicopter with a large gun, and he'd been holding on to it for years. And Good Friday, he came and made an appointment. It wasn't for the office confession. He just said, Pastor, I need to speak with you. And then he said, this is it. I got to say it. And he just wept. He just wept and confessed. And I hugged him and prayed over him. And he's a changed man. That you should have seen it. It looked like 1,000 pounds from 100 years got taken off of him. So beautiful, And what a man. He's leading a men's ministry now, somewhere deep in the South. So it can be really strong. That's why I say guilt is good news. If it's not guilting.
if it's not a verb you're using on someone else.
Yeah. Okay, Mom, I get it.
But we live in
very different.
We live in a tell-all society right now, Jay. Right? I mean, who's the guy in Congress? Who lied on his resume and
Santos?
And he's like, I'm not going to resign. I mean, I'm here to serve people. So you can't shame. I mean, shame and guilt sort of go hand in hand. If shame is missing from society, well, guilt's going to disappear as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the therapeutic sense, people say, shame is something that tells you you're a no-good piece of garbage, and guilt is something where you remember the day, the time, the person, and what the action was. They're very different, right? I think shame sometimes can be accumulation of all the guilt not dealt with, and we don't want to ever get to that place where we're feeling shame. And I think that's using very therapeutic language. That's how the therapists talk.
Yeah.
And I agree with them. I think that's real good. That's good sound counsel. But, guilt is usually, from a scriptural perspective, it's very specific, right? And there was a whole system set up, a sacrificial system. They even had the steps going up to the temple at different heights and levels and sizes so that, you couldn't just approach it in a cavalier way. Yeah. So God created a very good system to sort of extract our sin using the temple, and we didn't use it. As the Jewish nation, we didn't use it. And then now we have the cross, and we have the church, and we have a means by which you can get rid of your stuff. I think the whole open society, tell everybody everything and paste it on Facebook is insanity.
Yeah.
Because it just spreads sin, right? Because who wants to hear all that garbage? TMI, isn't that what they say?
Yeah,
Too much information.
Right. Okay, so as you leave us here, I just kind of wonder about this. The story you told about the 7-Up can and your brother. My guess is you're not such a great poker player.
Oh, I'm horrible. My wife tells me when I'm in church, somebody else's church, she said, "You got to realize everybody can tell when you're disgusted at what the preacher said." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know." I am terrible. I'm wearing my heart on my sleeve, and everybody can see whenever anything's going on with me.
It's a blessing and a curse, right?
I guess, yeah.
That's really funny. We've been talking to Jay Slocum. Jay, tell us about St. Thomas Anglican in Gibsonia.
Yeah, St. Thomas is a 70-plus-year-old church, beautiful congregation, started as a mission, faithfully proclaiming the gospel of Jesus week in and week out. Come and visit us on a Sunday morning. Our 10:15 service is dynamite. We're doing a Lenten adult ed at 9:15 on the foundations of the Anglican Reformation. And we're doing a Wednesday night soup and supper on the 5 chapters of our story in the scriptures, from creation, fall, redemption, consummation, and beginning with the communion of the heavenlies. So that'll be tomorrow night.
Fabulous. Jay, always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thanks, John and Kathy. Good talking to you.
Jay Slocum. Why guilt is good news this Lenten season. Jay's the rector at St. Thomas Anglican Church in Gibsonia.
My 6-year-old nephew got his first Bible for Christmas this year. He raised the Bible over his head in celebration, and as he did, caught his mom on the bridge of her nose, leaving us considering stitches. Hebrews says that the Word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword, but I don't think this is what that meant. It's Ryan from United Faith Mortgage, and we'd like to slam you in the head with an important word as well. Many experts believe that even with interest rates higher, this year should be a better year to buy a home. Inventory should go up, competition over homes has come down, allowing prices to stabilize, closing cost concessions from the seller are back in play, making it for many a good time to finally find that dream home while it's available, with the strategy to refinance once rates settle. If your family is thinking new home, we hope you'll remember us, our direct lender advantage, and that we provide a $1,000 lender credit at closing, a big thing my nephew would definitely celebrate. We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Mortgage Corp, Melville, New York. NMLS number 1330. Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities. Mortgage lender license 22672.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month.
SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Good Housekeeping just released its list of 65 New Year's resolutions to make you a better and happier you. They're good things, but no surprise. Not one of them includes worship. Why not resolve to get to know the Creator, the one who knows you inside and out? This is Pastor Tom Hall of First Presbyterian Church of Pittsburgh, 326th Avenue, downtown. Join us Sundays at 10:45. This year, resolve to come back to church.
The new year gives us the opportunity to make resolutions. You may have goals focusing on your physical, mental, or financial health, but have you considered your legal health? This is Jay Hagerman of Abernathy & Hagerman. You may have been putting off updating your estate plan or creating one altogether. We provide free consultations in order for you to finally check the box off your resolution list. Whether you want to discuss the difference between a will or a trust or the functions of a power of attorney, we'd love to talk to you. To schedule a free consultation today, visit a-h.law.
Discover the magnificence of the Mediterranean with Alistair Begg and our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. 9 life-changing days of powerful worship, Bible study, and history. Sign up now, deeperfaithcruise.com.
Listen on your smart speaker at wordfm.com, the Word FM app, iHeart, TuneIn, and on Odyssey. In your car or at home, too, at 101.5 WORD-FM, Pittsburgh.
Mainly clear skies expected for tonight. We'll reach a nighttime low of 31. Tomorrow will be warm with temperatures approaching near record highs with times of clouds and sunshine. A breezy afternoon tomorrow with a high of 68. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a passing shower late, the low 45. Thursday, sunny to partly cloudy skies. We'll reach a high Thursday of 51. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
Does this make sense?
Does what make sense?
Gambling. It is everywhere.
Yes,
now,
everywhere.
we've had gambling in Pennsylvania for what? If you think...
A decade?
Something like that. And gambling existed forever.
Yeah.
But in the last 3 years, the sports gambling thing has ramped up. It went from like 0 to 100, it seems, overnight. You can't get away from it. It's all over TV. It is all over radio. And I listen to it and I think, does this make sense?
I guess for some people that makes sense. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar... Remember, people gambled for Jesus' clothes.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
No, I mean, at its core, of course, it doesn't make any sense at all. It brings out our worst, right? It makes us people greedy. The love of money, more. It's an addiction, right? Not good.
And if you're just looking at pure math...
It's a loser's game.
It's a loser's game.
Right.
Why do you think the casinos are as nice as they are?
Right. I mean, you see guys.
But look, I mean, I was down at the casino, was that almost probably 8 or 9 months ago.
How much did you lose?
I didn't gamble. I just won't do that.
I'm not going.
I'm not doing. There's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, I went there. I went to see a show.
Gladys.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Crawl through broken glass to see Gladys,
Yeah.
John.
No, it doesn't. I mean, at its core, of course, it doesn't. But it's
Are you just saying that though because you're trying to give me the right moral answer?
No, I know it. I know in my heart of hearts it doesn't make sense.
Okay, so you're not just trying to give me like the Christian response.
No, it's a loser's game. I know that. It's a loser's game. It destroys families, lives, incentive.
Yeah, but if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah, I know. All right, does this make sense? A picture frame.
Okay.
You get a poster, you get a painting, you put it on the wall. It looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
But a picture frame, you put something around it. Like, sometimes a picture frame is also a work of art. I mean, frames can be pricey, but I think it takes something of beauty and in some ways elevates the beauty. If it's more than just a black cube. So the picture frames make sense. I understand. They're expensive. Does it make sense to you?
If I had to pick between buying a nice frame and like cutting my grocery bill in half, I'd cut my grocery bill in half.
What?
I love frames so much, and they add so much to a piece of art or a photograph or a letter or anything. It's every bit as important as the artwork.
I think you're right about that. Okay,
Makes
frames
all the
make
sense.
Thank you. Gambling, forget about it.
101.5 Word FM, WORD.
The life of David is a fascinating story of great spiritual success and notable failure as well. This This week on A New Beginning, Pastor Greg Laurie helps us learn from David's ups and downs as he launches a series called House of David. Be sure to tune in each day for A New Beginning with Pastor Greg Laurie.
A New Beginning with Greg Laurie, weekday mornings at 10:30 on WORD.
Wouldn't it be great to work in a place that makes a positive impact on the people, businesses, and churches around you? That place exists. I know because I work there. My name is Cassie, and I'm the digital marketing specialist with Salem Media Group in Pittsburgh. Right now, 101.5 Word FM and Salem Surround have an opening for one talented salesperson to join our team. Is that you? We'll bring the training, you just bring the talent. An understanding of digital marketing and some direct sales experience will definitely help you stand out. What are you waiting for? Take the first step to a career that is challenging, rewarding, and helps to create terrific results for our amazing customers. Join the sales team at Salem Media Group, Pittsburgh. Email your resume to brad.marshall@salempittsburgh.com. That's brad.marshall@salempittsburgh.com. Salem Media Group is an equal opportunity employer.
It's no secret that this economy is taking its toll on us, but I've got some important news that could really help. If you're facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt, you need to know that you may not be required to pay it all back. There are special programs that can significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This isn't bankruptcy or a high-interest debt consolidation loan. These are programs that credit card companies don't want you to know about, ones that offer Americans struggling with overwhelming credit card debt savings and real debt relief faster than thought possible. Accredited Debt Relief has a special hotline to learn all about these programs and what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualified consumers with over $1 billion in debt and have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. So call the Accredited Debt Relief hotline now for this free information. Call 800-786-2300. 800-786-2300. That's 800-786-2300.
Maybe you're an elder in a local congregation or a deacon wanting to serve your church more faithfully.
Dr. Barry York on the Master of Theological Studies program at RPTS.
The wonderful thing about the MTS degree is you can actually do it all online. So they can take the degree online and grow in that theological ability that will allow them to either teach or work more faithfully in their local congregation.
Learn more about the MTS degree program and flexible online options at rpts.edu.
I remember going out to dinner with my parents. We'd sit down.
Where would you go?
Where would we go? It's gone. Sirloin.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that place.
Mm-hmm. That was always a treat.
Okay.
I don't know. For like just a bite, Carl's.
I don't know Carl's.
It's in Monroeville. It's still there. It's been there forever. It's a little tiny, tiny shack. I mean, but we'd sit down. We would not go out as a family often to dinner. It just, wasn't part of our makeup. But I always remember this. My mom would order something, and my dad would say, I'll have the same. My mom would be like
outraged.
She would appalled. Oh, Dawn, please do not get the same thing. He'd be like, I don't really care. I'll just have what you're having. Okay, so the Bidens apparently, they went out to dinner the other night
and experienced a similar phenomenon.
They did. They went to this restaurant called the Red Hen. And
nicer or not as nice as Carl's?
Probably a lot nicer than Carl's. They had a chicory salad, grilled bread and butter, and 2 bowls of rigatoni.
That's awesome.
It drew attention and the ire of people. They were like, how could they order the same thing? That seems crazy, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, when you go out to dinner, generally, I'll have a bite. If my wife's having something,
yeah, right.
Let me try that.
Yeah.
Give me a little bite of that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
But there are times, like when there's like a special on the menu or something, and I go, that sounds pretty good. And sometimes we do get the same thing. And I always tell my wife, she's heard that story 8 million times about my mom and dad.
Yeah.
And I always go, I'm pulling the Don Hall here. I mean, Does it make a difference if you order the same thing? Do you and your husband ever do that?
I feel like you're not taking advantage of what the restaurant has to offer.
I agree, you are not. But are you? It's not like you're eating this. Are you splitting the entree in half?
No.
Right?
No.
Give me half of what you're having.
No.
You're not going to do that.
No, you're right.
You're just going to have a bite or two, maybe at the most.
I mean, I don't think my husband and I have ever done that.
Ever ordered the same thing? Ever?
I don't think we have ever ordered the same thing.
I'm surprised by that.
This has happened 100 times. That he has decided that he likes what I ordered more than he ordered, which is apparently
order regret.
Exactly.
Don't you hate that? Oh,
something that is going to plague us for all of our days.
I get that, because then you go, oh, I should have ordered that. Oh,
right.
That's so much better.
Yeah.
Isn't it surprising? Now, my wife would laugh at this, that the Bidens ordered rigatoni. She thinks
that is so low rent.
She despises rigatoni. She will not allow that in our kitchen.
Oh, I love it.
I don't mind it.
You know what? I had it Saturday night. My friend Paul made it.
Oh, see, there you go. It's good for sauce. You just scoop it up.
I haven't had it, and I can't tell you how long. I had it Saturday. I had it Sunday. And I had it yesterday.
Excellent.
I can't stop.
What was the sauce?
It's so good. His own homemade sauce.
Is it red sauce?
Yeah.
See, because you get that, it gets jammed in those tunnels.
Oh, it's
the noodles
so
are so
good.
big.
It's so, and you put a lot of salt on it.
Yeah, cheese.
No, I'm okay without the cheese.
Oh, come on, crank it.
No, I don't need the cheese.
Give me that
But
parm.
the salt, I am like
Really?
all about it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, the rigatoni makes me laugh. The chicory salad, I love salad.
Yeah.
It's a little edgy for me.
What's the chicory?
I don't like
What's
chicory.
on a chicory salad? What's that?
I mean, it has chicory in it.
Yeah.
So it's just a very, you know what chicory is?
Yeah.
It has a very strong taste.
Right.
It's
But
not
there
my
they
thing.
are. They got the same thing. But here's the deal. When you're at home, you're eating the
I
same
know.
thing. So it's not,
It's not like that's such a huge leap.
No, and they're, if you're a married couple, you've been together for decades.
Right.
I mean, you become each other.
I have
right?
what
You
she's
do.
having.
I mean, I'll have what she's having.
Right.
Oftentimes, my wife has a problem making up her mind. Right?
Oh, at restaurants?
Oh, the waitress will come over. Now, a few more minutes, huh? You come back. No, just a few more minutes here.
Oh, I'm definitely like that too.
Are you?
Oh, yes.
I'm in there. Let's go.
I don't think you and I, have we ever ordered this? We've eaten a lot of meals out
I don't
together.
think so.
I
No.
don't think we ever have.
No.
Well, no, I don't think we ever have. I can't think of a time that we have.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. But
We have reached the point, though, you and I, where we listen to this, Lexi. We're going out on Friday, by the way, the three of us.
Yes. Friday for lunch.
Yeah, we're going out.
We're all having the same thing.
We're going to a fish fry.
Yeah, we are.
On the Friday, for the three of us.
That's good.
Now, if we would be going to a restaurant, Lexi, it automatically happens that John and I sit down, whatever we're eating, I take the stuff I don't like from my plate and put it on his.
Yeah.
And he does the same.
Sure. Have this.
Best way to do it, honestly.
What the heck? Yeah.
It's been a long time. Huh?
You always take your onions off. Now, I will not eat the onions.
I
Like you
can't.
go to get a salad.
I always have to
you
take
pile
those
it up,
off.
which is just a professional courtesy.
Don't you think?
Yeah, of course.
Can you imagine if I ate onions and
No,
came
it'd
in
be
here,
a-
hey, let's do the ride home?
Now, if we both did, I mean, then you
that
could
doesn't even matter.
light a
It's
flame.
It's still awful.
Of course, oniony.
It's still awful. Anyway, I support the Bidens, but I just feel like maybe they could have, taken a little more. I mean, there was a lot the restaurant had to offer to you as the president and first lady.
But apparently, at this restaurant, the Red Hen, this is their signature dish. So you know how it is. Like me,
Oh, it's their
I'm going,
signature
yeah.
dish?
So like I'm going to go out and get white clam sauce. I
Right.
think about that all day long.
Yeah.
And so it's their this is something
Yeah,
they're
and
known
I'm going to
for
get the crab cakes and think of it
all
day long.
So when it comes, you go, and I'm finding you're going to sit down at the Red Hen and not order their signature dish. You get that.
No.
That changes things.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Okay. All right. Well, then I guess it's fine. It's good for
well,
them.
I mean, look, of course, in these days, people, are outraged that
About
they would
everything for
do
crying
such a
out
thing.
loud.
How could they? I mean, whatever.
Stupid. Hey, it's National Tooth Fairy Day. And I want to acknowledge my sister here, my sister Holly, who told me at the stoplight at Highland Avenue and Route 19 that there was no tooth fairy.
Oh, don't you? Oh, did that crush you?
Yes.
Of course it did.
And I already knew there was no Santa, so that was never a
No,
a
wait.
big
Well,
deal.
then if you know there's no Santa, then how could you buy into the tooth fairy?
I don't know, but I was seriously invested in the tooth fairy.
How old were you? 13? 18?
It was last year. No, I don't know how old I was. I have no idea. But it was very disappointing. And to this day, I think really you couldn't have just let that go on a little longer.
Right. Well, you know me, my bag of teeth.
Lexi doesn't know about this. Lexi, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
You want to be creeped out?
Sure.
It's not creepy. Okay.
Yes,
when my kids lost their teeth and I was the tooth fairy, I would go in, of course, and take the tooth from under the pillow and leave, whatever that money was. And then I would save the tooth.
Oh, my mom did that.
So I've got literally, I've got bags of teeth.
The death stare that Kathy is giving me right now.
It's in my sock drawer.
My mom still has my teeth, I'm pretty sure.
God bless Tina. See, she knows. Listen, Kathy always shames me like it's some weird, like, Frankensteinian thing. Like I've got some weird...
I love Teen. I haven't even met her, but I love her. But seriously, you can't be doing that.
See?
If your kid is 1 and you've kept like their first tooth, or the 2 and you kept their first tooth, that's fine. If you've got the phrase you used was bag of teeth.
Yeah,
that it's horror movie material.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you reach a certain point where I go, well, I really can't throw them away.
Yes, you can.
And now
Yes,
they're little
take
sweet
control.
little tiny teeth. They're so cute.
Do your boys know that?
I don't think so.
I'm telling. I think I am telling. I think what? 100,000 people have heard the story over the last 10 years. If your kids don't know, it's time.
Well, it's not like I'm hiding it from them.
You're keeping their teeth in your sock drawer.
It's in my sock drawer. If they went into my sock drawer, they're allowed to go in the sock drawer. They'd find their teeth. Now, could you imagine they went in their teeth in my sock drawer and were like, whose teeth are these? They're the next door neighbors. Or I mean, that'd be kind of crazy.
It's all crazy.
I don't think it is. I think it's love. It's affection.
It's not love.
It's just a little baby tooth. Look how sweet those little teeth are. And when they were so
weird.
little, the thing was wiggling around in there. All the anxiety.
When
and then
they
you pop
were
it
like
out.
6.
Oh, little sweetie pies.
Oh my gosh.
If you have an IRA or 401k, please listen closely. My name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. Throughout my career, let's just say I've been in some hairy situations. And I believe right now the biggest threat facing Americans is they need to protect their wealth, which is exactly what I'm doing for my wife and 6 kids. And I believe the ultimate safe haven is physical gold and silver. You can protect your hard-earned retirement assets with a tax-free loophole that allows you to convert your retirement into physical gold and silver. The folks I use are Advantage Gold, and believe me, I've investigated the heck out of all types of people. Advantage Gold is the nation's highest rated gold company. They have the best process, pricing, and service. If you want to get your free gold and silver investment kit, please contact Advantage Gold right now, and you'll see how easy it is to protect yourself with precious metals. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Call 800-900-8000.
Late summer this year, you can join Alistair Begg on a fascinating Mediterranean cruise.
Our journey together will end in Venice, once home to some of the brightest Christian writers and theologians of history. Venice was the backdrop for faith-shaping ideas and serious conversations around the scriptures. It's the perfect place for us to celebrate all that God has done and to rejoice in the new friends that we've made during our incredible Mediterranean cruise.
Join Alistair Begg for a once-in-a-lifetime Mediterranean cruise. Immerse yourself in the wonder of some of the world's most famous cathedrals, museums, and works of art. We'll be sailing on Norwegian Cruise Line's newest ship, the luxurious Viva. For details, log on to deeperfaithcruise.com. Then call 855-565-5519 to join. 855-565-5519. Inspiration Cruises and Tours is a trusted partner of Salem Media Group.
How does your family prepare for Easter? Truth for Life with Alistair Begg is making available a family devotional that will take you and your school-aged children through the events of Jesus' death and resurrection. 14 daily readings beginning with Jesus' entry into Jerusalem and ending with Pentecost. This colorfully illustrated book, titled Darkest Night, Brightest Day, will spark plenty of family discussion. Get your copy at truthforlife.org/donate.
This is Tim Seckler inviting you to tune in each and every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on Word FM 101.5 for the Life and Legacy Show, sponsored by my law firm, the Seckler Law Firm. Each week, we'll talk about your family's well-being as it relates to elder law, nursing home stays, estate planning, and keeping your hard-earned savings. And if you missed the Life and Legacy show, you will find it archived at secklerlawfirm.com. See you Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on Word FM 101.5 for the Life and Legacy show.
I often dream of beaches.
Oh, do you?
I dream. Generally, when I have the good dreams that I remember, two things: I'm flying, or I'm on a beach.
Huh.
I love, of course, if I'm dreaming about beaches.
You want to stay there?
I love the beach, right?
Oh my gosh.
So
Lex, do you like the beach?
I love the beach.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
yeah,
all right.
yeah. You're the beach person
Yep,
too?
and I love. Oh, are you kidding me?
So
So good.
best beaches in the world. TripAdvisor has a list of the 25 best beaches in the world.
Okay.
And the best beach in the world is so far away. I mean, it's in Brazil, called Baía do Sancho. It's on a volcanic island of Fernando de Noronha off the coast of Brazil. It's been awarded first place for the Traveler's Choice Best of Best Beaches Award. Takes the top spot for the sixth time in a ranking drawn from the quality and the quantity of reviews and ratings from TripAdvisor for beaches worldwide, gathered from January 1 to December 31st, 2022. Best beaches.
I've never been to South America at all. Never been to South America or Africa. Just sad.
It's on your bucket list.
It is.
Right? Eagle Beach in Aruba claims the global silver medal, and the bronze goes to Cable Beach in Western Australia. A beach in Hawaii is the top-ranking beach in the U.S., landing 10th. So can you imagine?
Okay, so what are the other? Are there Portugal beaches that are in the top 10? Give us countries there.
Let me see here. Let me go down the list.
Okay,
here.
so we had Aruba, we had Brazil, Aruba, and Australia.
Yeah. The European ranking, second place goes to a beach in Iceland.
A beach in Iceland?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I guess a cold beach.
Get
right?
out of
I don't know.
here. Who wants a cold? I'm sorry. I'm sure it's very beautiful. I'm not interested in a cold beach.
Here you go. Here's La Concha Beach in San Sebastian, Spain, is in fourth place.
Okay.
I've been to the beach in Spain and in Portugal. Highly recommended. My favorite beaches. Okay, here's the top beaches in the world. Let me see. Number 25 is in Greece.
Okay.
Forward. Okay. Virgin Islands, Mexico, Cyprus, Greece, Tanzania, Brazil, Costa Rica, Spain, Indonesia, Spain.
Where Indonesia is at Bali?
It doesn't say.
Okay.
It just gives the name of the beach.
Okay.
Grand Cayman, Australia, Georgia. Okay.
Okay.
Number 11, Siesta Beach in Florida. Okay.
I've never heard of Siesta Beach.
Neither have I. Number 10, Kanapali Beach in Hawaii.
Okay.
Then Cuba, then Italy, then India, Portugal, Turks and Caicos, Iceland is number 4, Australia, Aruba, and Brazil. Wouldn't that be great? Because,
Okay.
some people say, well, you've seen one beach, you've seen
No,
all.
that's a complete lie.
Right.
Okay, right now you get to go, all expenses paid, time off, to a beach. What beach are you picking?
Well, I'd want to go to a beach in the Pacific.
Okay.
I want
I agree.
the incredible
Yes,
blue
you do.
water.
Yes,
right?
you do.
And here's the deal.
And they're much more scenic than
I'm not
Atlantic
going
beaches.
to any resort.
No.
I don't want to sit in front of a hotel.
No, I don't
I don't
either.
want to be near a pool.
Me neither.
I just want to be at a barren, almost isolated beach.
Yes.
With really beautiful, white, grainy, soft sand.
Do you have any? Are you picking one, or is that
No.
just you're open to any ideas?
That's what I would consider an ideal beach.
Lexi, are you going? Where are you going?
I'm going to, I can't remember the name of the beach, but we were in St. Martin on a cruise.
St. Martin?
Were you then?
Yes, and it was this beautiful beach with beautiful blue water, beautiful
Whoa.
white sand, and there was a shack that was selling coconuts. And you could just get a coconut.
Nice.
And they'd crack it open for you.
Oh,
it was so nice.
That's just a little too much.
Yeah. Where you going?
I'm going to Laguna Beach, Southern California.
It's pretty crowded, though, isn't
Nope.
it? Really?
Nope.
Are there a lot of people around?
There are a lot of people around, but if you go at,
Go down.
May, There's very few people around.
When you see people like at the beach and there's like 8 million people around.
Spectacular.
Anyway, I'd go to the beach. Let's do this show live from a beach.
Please.
The Ride Home with John and Kathy, a production of Salem Media Group.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. Make America Florida again? Get ready for that argument as soon as this spring. Presidential candidates now routinely package their election campaign kickoffs into slick video premieres. This week, a key Florida PAC offered a new twist, a campaign trailer. Friends of DeSantis published the Florida Blueprint, featuring all of the hallmarks of a campaign launch video, only without the launch. Friends of DeSantis is not any ordinary PAC. They drove DeSantis' official fundraising and messaging for the last 4 years, raising nearly $165 million and spending almost $100 million to re-elect the governor. This new video may not include an official launch, which DeSantis appears to have put off until the end of Florida's legislative session. It does signal that the PAC wants to fundraise in this cycle, and the only reason to do that is if DeSantis is indeed running. Polls show that Republican voters see 2024 as a two-person race. With this ad, DeSantis and his supporters want the rest of those considering a 2024 bid to recognize that too and make way.
Ask Alexa to play the word Pittsburgh to hear us there. We're on your Google speaker too, plus iHeart, TuneIn, and on Odyssey. 101.5 WORD FM, Pittsburgh.